Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do the last issue of X from Dark Horse Comics. Well, it's not really the last issue, there's a lot of comic books after this, but this is the last of the review that I'm going to do because, I have too many books that I, need to go through and, doing this ongoing series for years. I don't know, sometimes you have to stop. But I must say there is probably something after this that piques my interest. So we're going to see what's happening. But anyway, we see this this is basically a homeless dude that is a little bit crazy. And this is the homeless guy that is working with X or is befriended with X. That's probably the best word. And he says that X is in trouble, right? But Kingston, that's his name, he's speaking in riddles. So basically he's saying that he is at the stadium, right? But then he suddenly, talks normal, although he talks here constantly in riddles. So he's calling Lieutenant Timothy, right? All right. So this guy is getting eliminated. He's a criminal. Talk about snitches, but then there's a rogue cop group called the Judgment Knights. They are not happy how things are going. They say that criminals are not getting the justice they deserve, which they take matters in their own hands, right? And they all find out that X is in the stadium. And X is now, saying to the world mob bosses of Arcadia that it's over. I won. So you have free choice and you get do it my way or get out or die. He says, crime merits one mark. The second mark is the mark of death. There is no longer any warnings for murder. I decide who lives and dies in Arcadia. And anyone who kills, dies. Anyway, so this guy says, hey, Carmine. It's Carmine, right? So he's one of the bosses. He says, hey, maybe we should rush him and kill him. So he says, no, not yet. And this is what happened in the last issue. This guy tried it too, but this is X we're talking about. Anyway, so Lieutenant Timothy is here calling for backup, but then what's again? Sorry, I instantly forgot. Just the Judgment Knights are here, right? And they are entering the stadium, killing everyone, right? But the mob people retaliate. So he wants to get a shot at X, but X is gone. So basically they are fleeing the scene, right? And Carmine says this is all part of his plan, right? And he's been in wars before. And he says, I've never been in a war that I didn't win. I'm not about to start losing with this one. All right, but then X is looking, and hearing. Well, oh my God, Marinus. Judgment Knights wants to kill everyone, right? And he wants Tango and the X-Killer. So they are getting away. And basically X is listening to what Carmine always saying, right? Because he's ambition. And he doesn't want to give up. Meanwhile, we have the homeless people try to save X, but says, hey, what are you doing here? Go home. We don't need you. And he says, well, we don't have homes. Anyway, so then we have the lieutenant here using a chain, and now he's dealing with this guy, right? And it seems that they know each other because, like I said, these guys don't like each other, right? And but now it's been revealed that he is, worked before at the force. He says, you're under arrest, Lieutenant Lewis. You're on my list now, Lewis. It's a short list. I keep it short. I never did like you. Inspector Cossi, my man, I do believe the man said you are under arrest. All right. Yep. Well, it's the Teal. No, it's not. It's another guy. Wait a minute. Why am I saying Teal? Lieutenant Timothy. I thought. Oh, probably there's two people, right? So he's working with this guy. I thought this was this guy and maybe it was a color correction. I didn't notice. Anyway, so we come back to to the crime boss here, Carmine, and he's clubbing this bodyguard out. And this is a little bit confusing if you haven't read it back to back. But this woman is waiting for him, and it's Diane Goretti. She's working for Major Teal, who's also a player. There's a lot of politics in here. What is this body? Looks so weird. And Christy, the right hand of Carmine, right? And he says, "Oh, what are you doing here? Do you have an orgy? Are you betraying me?" Also, we have some nice bios of heroes and villains, I guess, from the Dark Horse universe. Not sure. But it says Deanna, is it Goretti? Yeah. She wants to kill him because it seems that her great-grandfather made the city. My family owned it until you and your fucks came along. And she wants to deal with him, but then Christy, turning code again, and smashes her head through the table. But then this woman says, "Let go, Christy, I'll shoot you, let her go." I mean, she's basically seducing him, and, she is, I believe, the right hand of Major Teal, maybe, and she seduced him. This is a whole... Check out my other video if you want to hear the whole story. Anyway, but she's all right, but she needs to go to the bathroom, right? "So, you and Christy, you have a history?" "Yeah, we had plans. They changed, but of a disappointment. I was going to tell Christy to kill you, but I guess I have to do it myself." But then X comes, right? And she says, "Stop it right there. I'll blow this head off. I swear I will." Now, coming back to a little bit to the artist, the art is by Javier Saltares, which did the Ghost Rider series, which was pretty good, with Danny Ketch. And his art also, reminds me of a little bit of Mark Texera, who also did Ghost Rider, by the way. There's a lot of similarities here, and especially with the speed lines and the facial expressions. So, pretty cool. But then Christy grabs his employee, and this not his employee, Carmine, and pushes her in front, and she's getting the bullet. She says, "Oh, why did you do that? I love you." "Sorry, babe. Love I can't find anywhere." That's cold. "The future's here, Carmine. Time we clear the air." So Diana comes here, wants to shoot X. Then the bodyguard wakes up, shoots her. She shoots the bodyguard. Looks great. And then she got a bullet through the head from X. Good riddance. I put your money to good use. But then Carmine says, "Why? Why you do it?" "You tell me, Carmine, why?" "Because the stars told you to. Thing they made for us. Nothing was made for us." Because, Carmine, he's looking at the stars. He's basically a stargazer. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but everything the stars tells him, he needs to do it. And he says it doesn't matter. And he's talking about the Bible. "Heard it from anyone you personally? Tell me why. Revenge for what I did?" "What you did. You had a man killed, among other things, hacked up and thrown in the river. This isn't about you, Carmine. You're incidental. One day I opened my eyes and saw the world that made no sense. All the things I tried to believe in, they made no sense. There was no truth, no order. Everything I've done to live got me killed because of an old fool saw patterns in the stars." And then, "You do want revenge. Aren't you listening? I thought you wanted to know. I can't live in a world that makes no sense. Your city had to go, Carmine. It made no sense. Mine will. That's why." And he says, "You're lying. It has to do with me." And then, I know he's got a stroke. "What do you do to him?" "I told him the truth." And he says, he has a stroke. "It's not enough to remove the players. There will always be players. The power structure had to come down too. You're in charge of the underworld now. Keep them down and quiet. I don't want to hear about criminals. I have other things to do. Got me?" He says, "Hey, he needs a doctor. Leave him, save him. What do I care? His days are over. Time for a new dawn." Well, the end is basically that, people look in the sky and it's X. The war is over. The rule of X has begun. And then it goes into the next issue, which I think, okay, maybe we should check this out too, just to be sure. But basically, this is the end of the War of Arcadia. If I have one criticism, well, there's multiple criticism. The multiple criticism is that it's a little bit convoluted. This politics in this book didn't flow really well, to be honest. There's too many players in town, and none of it really, did anything significant. I mean, X is, of course, the one that ended it all, but they didn't do anything big or special or threatening. Like I said, there's too many people. Now, and what is with this hand here? That doesn't look good at all. Anyway, so the art looks good. X is a great book. This storyline, not so good. But overall, this is a good series. So, yeah, take it what you will. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.